And we are back from commercial.
Welcome back to In the Ring with Dave King. I am your fan of fans, Dave King.
I am your guest host, co-host, Connie Tanky. Also, as some of you know, Cordelia Crush in the Ring.
The one and only Cordelia Crush.
All right.
A sweetheart of a girl.
And we were actually making a little turn and interviewing Mr. Dave King.
Yeah, the foo is on the other shoot.
Take another puff, homie. He does, see. This is why I can't tell him things, because sadly, he's the type where, if his mother said, if your friends had told you they were jumping off a bridge, would you do it? He'd probably be like, yeah.
I did. Right into the Marine Park Bridge. I jumped off the Marine Park Bridge when I was 10 years old.
I can honestly
into the water.
say I have never done that. So see, you have done something I haven't done.
No.
Look at that.
Yeah, okay.
About damn time.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Yeah,
so
that's one.
as we were interviewing you, I actually have a couple questions.
You still have more
I
questions
have two questions left for you,
the
and
final
then we
two.
will wrap it up.
And then we'll wrap it up. Okay. Fair enough.
Now, as we know, we have a Mr. Chris Craven.
The nightmare. Yeah.
Yes.
I only know one person who has a smaller penis than Chris Craven. Alex Vendetta.
Might want to be careful how you say that, because I might have a surprise. You don't know. You know me. I have surprises for you. But here, let me ask these two questions first before we get to some other stuff.
Chris Craven, the nightmare.
Now, as we know, Chris Craven has a lovely little section at every lovely show.
Chris Craven sucks.
Section.
Yep.
So I have a question.
What?
Through this, have you ever had maybe a section of a show? You know, some people who would consider themselves a Dave King sucks section in a way.
Oh, Marks versus Pros. I am on the Dave King sucks section of Marks versus Pros.
I will say, as a fan, I went to a show that they happened to be at.
You did that really well. I wasn't expecting that. Touche, good job.
Well, me personally, I know they are hecklers. That is what they do.
Oh, yeah, I heard what they did to another show that you were at.
I will say they are hecklers.
Yes.
That's what they want to do, and you guys, your job is to piss people off. Kudos, you do a good job.
Kudos to you.
And the man I was dating at the time.
Yes.
However, all right.
So is this a Chris Craven or is this a Marks versus Pros question?
It was just, do you have a section? You said that was them, basically. And I'm saying, me personally, I did have a run-in where they did their job, but they were supposed to.
Yes.
I was a fan, and they said something that kind of made me go, excuse me, and they were in character as Marks vs. Pros saying, sit down, and my boyfriend got mad. However, I will say one thing about Marks vs. Pros.
Yeah.
From what I hear, that's what they are. They are hecklers, and you guys do your job pretty well. I'll give you that. You do get under people's skin really well. So,
they know how to push buttons, man. And I thought, with all the years' experience I had in sales and the thick skin that I thought I had, man, they found the weak spot, and they set me up, and they they got me. But
if that's their job, they're doing what they're supposed to.
I'm gonna say this.
Yes.
All right. And I know that when this gets aired, they're probably gonna piss all over my grave.
Trust me, I'm waiting for them jokes to come. But,
right. But
they're doing their job. If that's what they do, hey, thanks for watching.
I posted on my Facebook today my insights. And that is when you go and you see how many people you reach, how many new likes you have, and how many people view for 5 seconds or longer. And ever since all this shit started with Kaz, Jim, Dan Romano, Marks versus Pros, I went up 500% and got 30 new likes.
And I'm sure so did they.
I hope so.
That's what it's.
I'm not proud of the way that I got in there. I did something that I said out of syntax, as Mr. Big has defended me. The Raging Bull wants to actually beat the living shit out of me. Manny Fernandez. Manny Fernandez wants to physically hurt me. And Manny Fernandez once said Mick Foley is a wuss because he walked out of a fight. And Manny Fernandez might be pushing 70, but I got a funny feeling he could kick my ass 3 times.
I have that name does know in my vocabulary that name, and Usually I got your back, man, but you might be short on
No,
I love you to
I
death, man,
please,
but-
no. Let me go to jail. Listen.
Let me go to my last question before we get ourselves in trouble, okay?
So, Manny, I just say this. If by accident, when you do meet me and you do kill me, understand that my wife will get $100,000 effective immediately. So, on behalf of my wife, she
Please
says
don't.
thank you. Okay, so yeah.
Let's get to our last question.
I'm just glad Marks vs. Pro hasn't kicked me off yet.
And like I said, I don't know you guys. I had a little run-in with you guys as a fan, and I will say, you guys, if your job is to piss people off, you're doing a great job.
If you want to see how people can get pissed off, please go on Mark vs. Pro. And if you have the balls, go to Uncensored, because my balls are not big enough to handle that level.
You guys do a great job pissing people off. Kudos.
Yeah,
Now,
really.
my last question, we'll
Yes.
end it on a good question.
A good question.
What is Dave King's... I'm sure you have a bunch of interviews that you remember that you loved. Mm-hmm. Can one stick out of maybe... Because I'll say top 5, but pick one out of your top 5. Don't rank it because I don't want you to...
Yeah, no.
Name one of your most standout favorite interviews you've ever had.
Ooh.
Because you've interviewed a lot of a great talent. I have watched you interview a lot of great talent. I've been part of interviewing some of those great talents. But out of all of the talents you've interviewed, name maybe one that might stand out as a favorite.
I would definitely have to say more, as much as I've interviewed some of the bigger ones, I would definitely say when I got to interview somebody who I knew on a personal level. And then I like doing those, like how I haven't interviewed you yet. So a friend of ours, Alex Pedroza, known as
Alex Vendetta.
Alex Vendetta, yes. He came on my show one time. We sat down. I was doing it with Kaz, and I was like, dude, I don't have anybody. And he's like, well, who am I? And I was like, come on, man, let's just hang out. We'll have a good time.
Yeah.
And I had a pisser with him. And I had a really good time, and he was fun to interview. And it meant a lot more to me because he went out of his way, and he had never done it before, and he tried his best, and he kept up with me, and he let me joke around with him, and I think it was when I don't think Kaz was there for that. I was waiting for, I think, Drew Justice to come on, and
another friend of mine.
Another
He's
great.
fun in the ring.
Drew's a great guy, and
I love Drew.
And it's nice that when it's nice when I get Arn Anderson calling me up, the reinforcer, and I get to meet Papa Stro, and those are great for the ego in me, but I got involved in doing this, and I may sound like, oh, how cute, to ask me a tissue, but I got involved with this to help younger guys get to do this. That's why I call it the #1 independent radio podcast. It's not because I am the #1 podcast. I am the only one in Long Island that totally focuses on the independents.
And the upcoming ones, not just the ones that are on Spotlight.
Right, and that's why getting young
By the way, just
people,
guys?
What?
Just guys?
No, not at all. No, I have
Not just me, you had
Casey Cattell.
You also recently, one of my favoring ones in watch in the ring actually, Rage and beautiful
And
young
Chaos.
That you're a beautiful young
Yes.
lady.
Yes.
She's a very sweet girl.
Yes, she is. Oh yeah, but
And
you know what?
I've seen her in the ring.
I still don't trust her because you know what? Family is family, and Chris Mamone, he may be a good-looking, teacher, coach, and be able to get people going on. Oh, this is David Zubin calling.
He's calling back.
All right, so we're gonna go back to that.
Speaker. Can you get it on?
Senior Ref Dave Zubin, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. We are on the third portion of our tape, so when we go to show this, some people, if they follow through the next step, but I want to bring us back and sort of get you back a little bit to the beginning of where we are. Is that okay?
Perfect.
Sounds good. All right, so as I remember, I started off, did you ever get that eye surgery done?
I do not need no eye surgery because I have 20/20 vision.
You have 20/20 vision. Okay, so what about the eyes behind your head? When are you going to get those fixed?
You're very funny, Mr. King. Very, very funny.
Oh, you know, you take it like a true champ, my man. This is senior referee for ECPW, none other than Dave Zubin. I had the opportunity this weekend to watch him referee some really interesting matches, and when you go on my Facebook and you see how he tried to keep order and do some of behind the scenes, that if you have a couple of minutes, I'd like to ask you about.
Yes, I have a couple of minutes.
Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put you on hold for a second, all right? Because I have to do something, so just stay with me for a second, all right, Dave?
Okay.